How's it going, everyone? I'm in my room. A different perspective and angle than usual, so you get to kind of see some of my contraptions and things like that. Yoga mats, foam rollers, my amp coil. Anyways, today's video is about Deus ex machina, or divine intervention. So this is something that I discovered about 8 years ago, and in fact there's probably instances of that happened in my life of this before 8 years ago. I say 8 years ago because that was roughly the time I moved out and got divorced. That was a key crossroads moment for me in my life. And so I'm on Wikipedia, so I'm going to read what this is. And I learned about this because of a tweet Elon Musk did. I am an Elon Musk and Tesla fan. I believe he and Tesla and his companies, his other companies, now which Twitter is one, are doing a lot of good in the world. He is not perfect. His companies are not perfect, that is for sure. I also can acknowledge that and see that. But the net good that he and his companies are doing, I believe, is greater than what isn't good. So on Wikipedia, so I saw this tweet from Elon Musk about Deus ex machina, and I said, that's interesting. I'd never heard of that term before, but I felt a knowing that this was something that was going to be good for me to learn and understand. So here's what it means. English, God out of the machine. Deus ex machina is a plot device whereby a seemingly unsolvable problem in a story is suddenly and abruptly resolved by an unexpected and unlikely occurrence. Its function is generally to resolve an otherwise irresolvable plot situation, to surprise the audience, to bring the tale to a happy ending, or act as a comedic device. So this is very interesting to me because I've had a lot of situations in my life happen. Most of the time situations are just kind of day-to-day life, nothing too crazy, but I've had a few situations in my life that I've tried to explain what happened, and it's been difficult, and now I have something that is the closest thing to the truth, or a way to describe a few situations in my life. So what are the situations in my life where this applies, and what are the situations in your life where you have felt this Deus ex machina type of event, divine intervention, some event that happened, some person that came into your life, something that resolved a stalemate or a situation that seemed impossible. So I'm going to share two situations in my life that I thought were impossible, but something happened and it broke the situation, it broke the stalemate. And each of them are very key situations for my life. So here they are. The first one is my divorce. I was married for 14 years, and it was a good marriage. There was no real major problems in it, except that toward the end of it, my life path and her life path were on two separate roads. I was a sailing adventurer, a broadened perspective on belief systems. She was a temple-going Mormon. And I'm not saying that those two belief systems can't mesh and meld. I think belief systems are not the primary thing that has two people together. But there was that and a few other reasons that I realized that this situation wasn't going to work, but it was too hard to do anything about. It was too difficult. So I didn't do anything. I was in a stalemate because I didn't have the courage. I didn't have the fortitude. I didn't have the confidence in myself to be able to end that situation and have the faith and trust to go out on my own path. So that thought process went on for about 6 years in my mind before I even said a word to her about it. That's on me. That's a lack of ability to communicate on my part. And but something happened. Something happened that ended this. I met the person at work, and at where I worked, and I remember the day. It was August 22nd, 2012. And I met this person, and I got an email from her, and she just needed some help with something for her team. And I thought, this is interesting. I'm seeing this email, and I get hundreds of emails a month, but I saw this person, and I saw her name, and I felt the same feeling that I got when I read Elon Musk's tweet about Deus Ex Machina. I felt this electrical feeling throughout my body that this person was going to be incredibly important in my future life path. I thought, well, that's weird. So instead of responding to her email, I went and talked to her, and I felt this weird knowing this person's important to me in some way that I can't comprehend right now. But I was married at the time, so I didn't really think too much more of it. We talked periodically, and over time, as we talked at work, she showed an enthusiasm and an interest for the things I did, my hobbies, who I was as a person. And this is something I did not feel in my marriage. So that was interesting. I was starting to see another perspective on the way someone could think about me. And it was just interesting. As early 2014 rolled around and I started to talk to her more, we would have longer conversations, and I started to realize what I started to think about 6 years ago, that I needed to end my marriage, and having the courage to do that. Well, what happened is this woman and I were talking is that she disappeared. She disappeared, and she was someone I was viewing as an important person in my life, but I was still married at the time. And I think she started to realize that we were talking a little too much and getting a little too close. And she just left the state where I lived, just disappeared and stopped responding to me. And it was like a knife twist in my gut, in my heart. It forced me on my own now to look inwardly and to figure out what to do next. And I took the next about 9 months to work with my now ex-wife and talk with her and finally open up and communicate. I finally sat down with her one night and just started bawling, started crying, and saying, for many, many years I've thought about this. My life path in the church isn't the same as yours. I believe in a multitude of things. I'm feeling the call to go out on my own and experience life on my own power. And I can't stop this energy, this feeling. Eventually our paths are going to separate much later in life if we don't do this now. And we just had a lot of conversations. We finally started talking in a deep way for the first time, like just really an honest and open and deep way. And in a sense, that got us to know each other far better than the conversations we were having before, because I had this Deus Ex Machina event, this person who came across my path and ignited me to finally make a choice. And so as October of 2014 rolled around, we initiated a divorce, very amicable. I gave away most everything. I took a car, my then Honda Fit, and some little bit of cash, and went to a basement apartment from my nice house. And I had the courage to finally do that, knowing I would be financially strapped and living in much worse conditions than I was before, but it was the right thing to do. The beautiful thing is that she found another man about a year later to take to the temple and get married, or that has the same belief systems as her, and they've had a few more children, and they have a nice family. Dido, my cat, who just passed away a couple weeks ago, is buried in her backyard along with Aptor and Sneaker, 2 other cats that I had. So we have a very good working relationship and friendship post-divorce. So I'm grateful for that, and I'm grateful for the time I had with her for 14 years. A lot of good memories, but not everything's meant to last forever. I've certainly seen that truth in my life. So this person came into my life to to ignite me in a way that was impossible for me to do by myself. She is the person I talk about in my twin flame videos, this person that I believe was sent to me through divine intervention. And as I moved out on my own, I had periodic contact with her still for a few years. But the end result was that the energy of that situation never was able to come together. And we even met for a in person outside of work in early 2017 when I was feeling really sick after my back surgery. But the energy of this situation was dissipated. It was gone. The soul contract, whatever you want to call it, had been fulfilled. There was nothing else to do. It was not the same energy anymore, which was fascinating. But I feel a deep sense of gratitude for this woman that came into my life and that allowed me to have the courage and strength, built this upon me, to make a hard decision, a difficult decision, and move out on my own, which I have now been doing for just over 8 years now. And she taught me to draw my strength from within. So I began the process of cultivating a strength from within that was independent of any friend, independent of any church, independent of any parent or sibling or man or woman on this planet. I began this way of being where I drew my strength from within. So she left me with that gift. She's someone I don't talk to anymore. It's been years since we've had any conversation or interaction, and the soul contract, if you want to call it, has been fulfilled. So that's Deus Ex Machina number 1. We'll interject with something before I go into Deus Ex Machina number 2. And maybe there's been more, and if there are more that I realize, I'll talk about them in another video. Vulnerability, truth, honesty, transparency. To be even able to talk about this and to do those twin flame videos from 2015, 16, 17, the videos this year where I was crying and broken. This was not something that I was able to do. I started kind of doing videos like this in 2016 with those twin flame videos and other things. I kind of, as my life journey went on, discovered this concept of vulnerability, truth, authenticity, honesty. And I said, well, not many people are doing this. There's not many people doing videos and really sharing these fears and these deep underlying things about life that scare them and that are difficult. But I decided, you know what, I'm just going to do videos and talk about it. I'm just going to share it. And to hell with what anyone thinks about me as I do it. And it was a very freeing thing to do. It has helped further cement that original gift of drawing my strength from within. But this is an example of that vulnerability. This video is to share these personal things about my life and the lessons I learned. And so, yeah, vulnerability as a man. You don't need to be this stoic, Herculean specimen of a man. Yes, it may turn off a lot of women because there's a large percentage of women that can't handle vulnerability, truth, and authenticity from a man, because to be that way is to be more feminine in your energy. But I don't care. I believe I can be masculine and feminine, and that it's very important that I cultivate both. I can be powerful. I can go to the gym and kick the heavy bag and make gun-like shot sounds of power. And I can do that, and I can harness a dragon from within, a powerful dragon from within. And I can also share vulnerability, authenticity, truth, honesty, transparency. I can share my feelings. I can share my feelings, and that's okay. I can cry. I can be distraught. And I allow myself without resistance anytime I feel that way to feel that way. So this is where I'm at almost 45 years of age as a man, that I believe both. I cultivate both. I cultivate both masculine power and feminine understanding. All right, interjection done. Deus ex machina number 2. My first real relationship, my first deep, soulful, connective, real relationship. And y'all know who this is. I have a few videos of her on my channel. And I first met her and you can see a video of us talking together on my YouTube channel. But I first met her dancing at the Westerner, a place I went to because of another, I guess, Deus ex machina-like event, Lyme disease, and overcoming it was kind of a significant event. Was it divine intervention for me to get sick and have to learn to overcome it? Maybe. But without that, I wouldn't have gone dancing, and I would not likely have met this person. But there was a deep knowing with her as well. Just, there's something about this person. There's another, something's gonna happen. Some kind of significant life-altering event's gonna happen here. And I knew it, like, and I think she knew it as well. Or there was just a deep connection and knowing. And so after just over a year of talking for the first time at the Westerner, we started talking and hanging out more. The energy just went there. In life, relationships and energy kind of just happen. That's how you know it's right, it's good, because you can't stop the energy from doing it for two people. And we started hanging out, and I formed my first real relationship. I had Facebook at the time. It was my first Facebook official relationship. I said, holy shit, this is someone I could actually see myself potentially marrying and forming a life with. And we spent 16 months together and connected, fell in love. Both of us fell in love. At least that's how I see it. But as I navigated the situation and as time went on, I realized that our time together was to be for a time. But it took me like 14 months of debate and thinking in my brain, and I resisted that. I resisted that feeling. I said, no, we're so good together. This is meant to be. But this energy of the universe, something, said you were together. You were to come together for a time, to share with each other certain gifts, and that I was to be a transitional angel for her to find her person, which turned out to be true. That happened, and that the experiences with her would help me develop self-love, true self-love from within, and that has happened. But the end of that relationship was difficult. We even broke up once in the summer of 2021, but a month later came back together. Broke up again January of this year, 2022. But contact was very difficult to cease. She reached out to me originally after our breakup, and then I couldn't stop reaching out to her. The pull, the energy was so strong. That's how I knew this was someone I cared about. If it was someone that I wasn't in love with, I would have just let it go and walked away. So for another couple months, we stayed in contact till about the end of March. And a seemingly impossible, irreversible plot situation was here, that she and I would always boomerang to each other without Deus ex machina, without some kind of divine intervention, without some kind of event to make it end, truly make it end. So what made it end? What was the divine intervention in this situation? Someone came along, someone entered as a catalyst, as an additional party, and threatened me never to speak to her again. Essentially said, do not talk to her, speak to her ever again, or else. And I'll leave it at that. And that was the first time I'd ever been threatened in my life. It was a shock to my system. I said, I can't believe someone would say and do something like this. this extreme type of thing. So I took a lot of time to think about it and to just ponder it, to contemplate it. And as I did that, I realized, regardless of this threat that was made against me, I knew I couldn't contact her anymore. I knew that that was the right thing to do. But it was so incredibly difficult because when you're in love, you are basically drug addicted, tied to someone. You're like soul tied to someone. It's beyond, it's difficult to just walk away when you're in love. So I took time to think about this, and I did not reach out to her. I just allowed myself to kind of swallow any pride I had, and researched what's the best response to this. And the best response to anybody who threatens you or bullies you in your life, I believe, whoever you are watching this, man or woman, is to strengthen yourself. It's to strengthen yourself. Become more than you are. Become a strong beacon of light. Learn skills. For me, this was learning martial arts, how to do self-defense, how to punch, kick, grapple, block, move, shoot guns. So I learned how to shoot firearms for the first time in my life. I'd always been kind of like a MacGyver with guns. And no, I'm not going to shoot guns. That's too dangerous. So now I know how to shoot a pistol pretty well. I'm comfortable with it. I know how to take a clip out, put one in quick, load a clip, shoot, aim with the two sights, how to hold a pistol, the right grip. The kickback you get when you shoot a gun, it's actually pretty powerful even with a pistol. So I learned all these things and gained confidence in my ability to defend myself. I hit the gym, the weight room, and I became very strong and powerful in my body. I'm in the best shape of my life now. I understand how to defend myself. I know how to shoot guns. I have a self-love and confidence from within that I've never had before. And it doesn't mean that there's moments in life where I still have hard days. I do. I have hard, difficult days. I have the difficult times still. I still have fears and doubts. It's not like I'm this immortal being now. Not true. I'm still very human. But I believe I handled it the correct way, and that is to strengthen myself. And to only, as in the Karate Kid, Mr. Miyagi in the Karate Kid said, that these tools I now have are only to be used in self-defense, never for offense or aggressiveness. And I truly believe that. And so I look at this person that threatened me, and I see it as an objective observer, as if I'm watching the situation, as I'm watching a movie, saying, wow, isn't that interesting? And seeing it for what it is, a Deus ex machina type of event, a divine intervention that shocked my system and made it possible for there to be enough time of no contact between her and I so that our situation could dissipate and end. And she got married and found her person, and I did videos talking about that and the gratitude I had for her and I's relationship, and wishing her and her husband well. I truly wish nothing but happiness, joy, abundance, love, and infinite adventures for her and her husband. And I hope that's what's happening. And for me, I gained a drive and a path to become a martial artist, something I thought I'd never do. And so now it's a joy for me to go to the gym and kick the heavy bag, punch, practice, lift weights, have a powerful body as a man. I think for a man, it's a wonderful thing to go to the gym and become strong and learn self-defense and to shoot guns. It'll help you be a better protector, and it increases your confidence. I don't think any man can go wrong by learning martial arts and shooting guns and hitting the weight room. And I do yoga as well for strength, flexibility, and mindfulness in my life. That mindfulness is important because life is stressful, life is difficult, and these are all good things, wonderful things. So Deus ex machina number 2, the threat. That is what truly ended my last relationship. I believe so. That was the catalyst. That was the person that came along Do I agree with threatening people? No, I do not. But I understand the divine intervention of it. I can have both. I can wield both perspectives simultaneously. I cannot agree with the approach that was done. And I can also agree that it was in divine intervention as well. So now here I am in my life, having experienced at least two Deus Ex Machina events, now on a sailboat on my own, trailblazing my path in life and seeing what's going to come next. And I do not know. I'm going to be 45 in about a month, just over a month, and I really don't know what the future holds. It's unknown to me at this point. It's a new phase of life as I'm getting older and continuing to learn things. It may be that another relationship is not in the cards for me. It may be that I become a monk and I dedicate the rest of my life to self-perfection and strengthening myself and seeking knowledge and understanding about life. Or it may be that one day I enter into another relationship. I do not know. And it's still kind of been, even though it's now November and my relationship ended earlier in the year, it's still a little too soon. It's still kind of too soon for me. And but enough time is starting to pass where I'm thinking about it. Deus Ex Machina, divine intervention like events. Have you had any of these events in your life? Have you had events occur or people cross your path? Or something happened, somebody said something, you heard a song, you heard two people talking, you heard a speech, you saw something happened that changed the course of your life forever. These divine intervention-like events are curious to me, why they happen and when they happen. It makes me further believe that there is something out there in the universe, the world, some force, a master chess player that nudges us as people in different ways. The fascination I have of this world and all the people in it and the many different personalities and perspectives and past experiences and everything that goes into this world that somehow makes it all work and also creates a lot of the chaos we see in the world with so many different perspectives. It's all very fascinating to me. I do my best to see things objectively and as an observer in my life. I do my best to respond to situations in the best way possible that is for the greatest good of all. I'm not perfect. I make mistakes. I don't always do things the best way. I'm compulsive at times. But there's certainly something in me that seeks to connect. Something in me that wants to form a deep, loving connection with someone amazing. And I also have this thought about being a monk at the same time. I can think about both simultaneously. But I'm alive. I'm relatively healthy. I'm on a journey of martial arts and yoga and weightlifting, and as a scientist moving forward, wondering what the next phase of my life is. And I do not know. It's unknown. I'm seeking further light and knowledge about what's next. And I'll keep doing that. So thank you all for listening. This is I don't know how long this video has gone on now. I can't see a timer. Maybe it's about 30 minutes now. But truth, authenticity, vulnerability, transparency are incredibly important to me. And my YouTube video is my way to cultivate that. And I'm going to end with my mantra about myself. A mantra is simply a short phrase or phrases that uplift you. And so this was the mantra that was created out of this situation this year and the end of my relationship and how it all went down. I am strong, powerful, truthful, authentic, and vulnerable. A powerful specimen, a superhero. This is my mantra. This is how I see myself. And I know that life requires work, requires, especially as men in life, a lot of resolve, trials, tribulation to mold us and shape us into better men. And my trials, my difficulties have shaped me to be better, I believe. And I'll continue to work on that being better. And I'm grateful for this life that I have. I'm grateful for the 2 Deus Ex Machina events that happened to me and any others that I might think about. All right, there you go. So curious to hear yours if you have any, your divine intervention like events. They're fascinating to me. So namaste. Thank you so much for listening. I'll see you all in the next video.